We're going to start here on YouTube. Boom, boom, boom. I said boom, boom, boom. Now everybody say way-ho. Way-ho. All right, good. All right, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking about results from our Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 Ultrasound Vagus Nerve Stimulation and Repair coaching program. But before we do that, we're going to do our simultaneous squeeze. And hopefully we can bring some of the heat down because it is hot today. It is too hot. Way too hot. I hate it. But it's all good. So how we do the breathing is we're going to do a simultaneous squeeze. And it's the thing that makes everything better. It's the dopamine hit of the day. It feels amazing. So you're going to do this with a big breath in, fill your lungs up, hold that air in, and then you're going to do a squeeze with your diaphragm, your Valsalva squeeze, and then you're going to try and do breath retention while pushing out of your mouth, but keeping the air in and pushing all that up into your head, and you're going to get this nice release and this feeling of euphoria, basically. So here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And then take a sip at the top. Squeeze and hold. And slowly exhale. There we go. And you can say, ah, just like that. So it might be like a nice woof feeling for you. Okay? So that's awesome. Great. Well, I hope you like that. That's what we do every day on these. So let's do this. Let's check this out. So we have some very exciting news from the front lines of ultrasound vagus nerve stimulation zone. First one I want to share is, let's see. Okay, one I want to share from a client who signed up with us a long time ago and has been through our Phase 1 and is having really good results with UVNS, is basically what they had to say was that they were shocked. They were shocked at how good they feel today versus the same time last year. Here's what they wrote. Last year at this time, they were on the couch most of the day in the summertime. I mean, don't blame them, right? But if they went outside during the daytime, they came back completely just drained of energy. This is last year. And right now, today, because they are in so much better shape health-wise from the vagus nerve stimulation work that they're doing with me, is that they're still in shock, literally in a state of shock at how amazing this has been for them. They shared that they used to be in a state of nausea almost all of the time, a lot of the time. And right now they feel fine. They're still waiting, and they even shared that they're still kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, meaning they're like, this is almost too good to be true. And it's been going on for so long now, I think 4+ months, that they're like, I shouldn't be feeling so good, but I still am, which is really incredible. Yeah, so they're just really blown away by how could this be related to the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve does do a lot of stuff, so it was really helpful to kind of have that conversation with her today. Then in terms of the stimulation locations that they're doing, they're typically doing stomach stimulation, vagus nerve stimulation on the neck. Yeah, some different kind of stimulation locations with ultrasound. They're also a member of our new Phase 3 vagus nerve stimulation program with ultrasound of the auricular branch of the vagus nerve, which is in the ear. So you can stimulate the vagus nerve in the ear with ultrasound. You have to have a very special customized device, which we use, custom made for our program. So here's how they described it. First time I used it, I had a weird feeling. And I asked them to describe what weird felt like. The weird feeling was, it feels like they get a little bit of that nice spacey feeling, like spaced out, like, whoa, like almost like they're getting a little bit high. Now it's not a crazy effect. It's not horrible, but it is subtle. So this was after about, I believe, 10 minutes of stimulation through the auricular branch in the ear with ultrasound. But that only happened that one time. I spoke to her and I had her reduce her stimulation to about 7.5 minutes instead of the full 10. So when they're using it today, they're about 3 weeks in. I really don't feel like doesn't feel like they're using it. However, once they're done with the meditation and the stimulation, they then start to feel really clear in their thinking. And they have this, this is an amazing feeling. So it gradually builds up after the stimulation. Probably takes about 15 to 20 minutes post stimulation for their body to kind of bubble up to this like, oh, wow. And what that's really doing is that it's a state of persistent non-symbolic experience. I don't know if some people know, but there's this thing called PNSE, persistent non-symbolic experience. And if you want to know more, I would highly encourage you to go to check out Dr. Jeffrey Martin, who is basically an expert on enlightenment and awakening through meditation. And so what we're doing is we're basically replicating the effects that he speaks about through ultrasound stimulation of the auricular branch, meaning the auricular ear branch of the vagus nerve, using a small, portable, custom designed for our program ultrasound device. So, I'll post links to that if anybody wants that. Just say I'll post the links for it. I've already posted it before. So let's see. Yeah. But yeah, basically they like the meditations, they like the stimulation, and all is good. So that was really fun. Let's see, what else? Let me check here. We've got, okay, yes, I have another really good one for you too. So those are the results from one of our clients in the VNS program, the one that I run, that I created, because I realized that the vagus nerve is pretty good, pretty incredible. Okay, so from another completely distinct individual, completely anonymously, of course. In terms of how they're doing so far, they're holding up really good. Their functioning right now is about 80% of full function. They've had huge improvements in their health. They're back on their feet, and they're doing really, really good. They are a parent, so they're managing, a whole household. And prior to joining the program, they had basically no energy in the day. They were at about probably, I'd say, 10% function. Just about 4 months in the VNS and repair program in phase 1, they are completely back on their feet. They haven't missed a single day of stimulation with ultrasound, and every time that they do it, it feels like it benefits them. So they have no intention of stopping. They just feel like each time that they stimulate, it's an increase. And so my recommendation was for them is to, continue to stimulate. We pared down some of the stimulation to lower some of the times that they were doing. Because when you do ultrasound stimulation enough, after a while, you actually don't need to stimulate for the full 10, 15 minutes a day that you can end up doing. And so 10 to 15 minutes is really not that long compared to what a lot of I don't know, some of these ear clips devices, some of these ear clip things, the ear clip ones, you got to stimulate for 40 minutes a day just to kind of get the effect, because you have to have it on such a low setting. Otherwise it starts to hurt. So electrical stimulation of the ear is hit or miss. I mean, it can be incredibly beneficial for people if they do it right, but at the same time, it's it's not great. Whatever. So, yeah. So for them, their stimulation modes are on the neck, on the pancreas, the spleen, the sacrum, the sternum, and we pared things down to the pancreas. So you can actually stimulate your pancreas with ultrasound. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right, so that's another one. Let's see. Okay, good. And then we have another one that actually I do really want to talk about this one. I was gonna call the title of today's video something about COVID and COVID damage, but I just decided against it. Regardless, though, I do want to share this person's story. Now, completely anonymously, but this person wasn't technically damaged by COVID per se, but what they were damaged by was the prophylactic thing that you inject into your body to not have the bad time virus bug hurt you. Meaning that this client that I have, right, who's currently working with me for the last about 2 months or so, was, I would say, injured by a certain injectable liquid that you typically take when you don't want to get you know what, if you catch my drift. And some of the effects she had were POTS, brain bleeding, dizziness, severe autonomic dysfunction, blood pressure dysregulation, high heart rate, tinnitus. I mean, just a lot of bad stuff. A lot of really bad stuff from the you know what, the thing that you inject into your body. So I'm not jumping to any conclusions here, and I'm not going to become I'm not a champion of arguing against or for or anything like that, but I keep on telling her, I'm like, man, I really wish that there were some way that like you could go on CNN and tell people, like, be like, hey, look, these things are absolutely happening to you, and they happened right after you got the you know what. But you know, again, how people are treated when they come out and they're public about that, I think is just abysmal, and it's a disgrace. So I don't expect her to ever come out publicly, but I do commend her for going out and searching for solutions. So that's one thing that we can say is good. But for her, she has seen everything on the improvement. Everything is on the up and up. Yeah, right. Thanks, Laura. Yeah, exactly. That will not happen, and it is kind of a disgrace that is that people are not allowed to share what could be a big warning against something that can hurt people. For instance, there are some blood vessels in a part of her body that are rupturing. And then it's not good. But she's doing a lot better. She is doing a lot better. She's in really good hands. She's getting good care from our program. She is using ultrasound on her vagus nerve, and it's absolutely helping her. So take that. One interesting thing was that there's a usage case for ultrasound on the sternum to stimulate the cardiac vagal fibers. So your vagus nerve goes to your heart, and you can stimulate your vagus nerve through the sternum, through the hard plate on your rib cage in the front. And you can stimulate with ultrasound, not with electricity. Just mind you, electricity is very limited. Electricity is not bad per se, but gosh, you're so limited in what you have. I'd say with ultrasound, if you use our ultrasound, you basically are getting the equivalent of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if not 8 different specialized devices, because of how ultrasound can penetrate through very hard to access spots, which electricity cannot get. Electricity can basically only do one spot on your body, and ultrasound can do many more, 8. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. So, oh yeah, she had tried stimulating on the sternum, on the heart, and stimulating there. Usually people feel this like really nice, like, ooh, like a feeling of love, like a real feeling of love. But in her case, something activated where she felt this sense of doom by stimulating her heart with ultrasound. So I thought that was really interesting. And she said, well, I didn't want to do that anymore. And I said, totally agree. If you ever have any kind of a feeling where you're like, ooh, that something about the body is telling you that it's a hard spot to stimulate, then I highly recommend being intuitive and not stimulating in that particular region if possible. So she stopped, but she said she still occasionally will do maybe like 10 seconds at a time just to see, like, is this part of my body ready for it yet? But I mean, this is, I can assure you and promise you that this particular client of mine is a incredibly sweet person, incredibly true-natured person, incredibly honest and authentic, and a well-established person in her field, basically. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's just a shame that she was injured by the you-know-what. But yeah, what I told her is that first and foremost, if you ever have that effect, like if you have an effect of doom and gloom from stimulation of a spot, then definitely stop it. But I also encourage people to be curious as to what could this be telling you exactly? What could this be trying to say to you if you get that message from a part of your body when you stimulate? Because I think that there can be some really rich, deep insights that your body's trying to tell you when you stimulate it with ultrasound, because it seems to unlock some innate information. When you stimulate neurons with ultrasound, you unlock information that is stored inside of them. And if you stimulate your heart and it goes, ooh, that's not so good, or I don't like that, or whatever, then it could be important to, kind of check on that and see, is this good? Is this bad? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, be mindful of that, okay? Be very mindful of that. But yeah, other than that, I would say overall, I'm pretty tuckered out. It's hot as heck, and I've been on calls literally all day, back to back to back, nonstop, with all clients. Almost all my clients I have check-in calls with this week. So, and more tomorrow, and lots yesterday too. So if I do get to talk to you soon, or if I've not spoken to you in a while, my heart goes out to you. I'm going to wrap it up here a little bit early as well, because I need to get out of the heat. I feel like this heat is dangerously hot. I don't know why. But anyway, so thanks YouTube folks.